So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for attending this webinar on how to make the most of our digital products. We are really aware you're very busy people, teachers, and we really appreciate that you're here with us today. So I'm Ainhoa Ochoa, and I am an educational consultant in Macmillan Education, and I am in charge of ESO, Bachillerato, and adults.
Hi everyone, my name is Susana Martin and I am Digital Portfolio Manager at Macmillan Education, and I am responsible for our digital platforms. As Ainhoa has said, we'd like to welcome you to this series of online webinars with a specific focus on our digital platform for teachers using secondary courses.
So we're going to explain what we're going to be doing in this session. Firstly, we are going to review how to access the Macmillan Education Teacher App and set up your classes. And yeah, we're also going to demonstrate some of the key features of the platform with a specific focus on the new ones. We're also going to look at some easy ways in which teachers can use the platform to enhance classroom practice. We're also going to have a look at the Students App. And finally, we're going to have a look at how to use our digital content with third-party platforms such as Google Classroom. So before we start, we'd like to do a little poll with you to find out what's your experience with the Macmillan Education Teacher App. We'd like to know if you're users of the Macmillan Education Teacher App. So please let us know if you're already using it or if this is your first year.
You can see they are replying, the answers are coming. Let's wait a moment for them to finish, but I think we've got like 40% of users that are already using Macmillan Education Teacher App and 60% of users that are using the platform for the first year.
Yes.
Right? It's almost a mix. Okay, and for those that have answered yes, we would like to know how often do you use the platform in your classes. So we're going to launch a second poll for you so that you can choose the option that works better for you.
It seems the ones that are using it use it every week. Yes, which is what it is intended for.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, so far, everybody is selecting the first option every week. 27 people have voted. Okay. So those of you that have answered this are using the platform every week. Okay. Let's continue then. Okay. Many of you already know about Macmillan Education Teacher App, but let me introduce the platform for those ones that are new users this year. Okay, Macmillan Education Teacher App is the digital solution that we developed for all our ELT courses. And it has different features depending on which course you are teaching, primary, secondary, and bachillerato or adults. And as we have said in the intro, today we are focusing on the platform for secondary users. Okay. I'd like to start reviewing how to register and access the Macmillan Education Teacher App, depending on if you are already a user or if this is your first time with our platform. So I'm going to share my screen with the Macmillan Education Everywhere website. Okay, this website is, as you can see here, is the main access point for both new and existing users to access their digital content. Okay, I'm beginning with the new users. So if you are a new Macmillan user, you will first need to register here at macmillaneducationeverywhere.com to create your Macmillan account. So let me guide you through the steps. We click on register. And we choose register a new account. If at some point you stop seeing my screen, just let me know, right? Okay, so the first step will be to choose your role, your profile, which in this case will be a non-student, and select the country of residence. Graz, Spain. We click on next, and this is the second and the last step. In here, you will need to complete your personal details, your first name, the last name, the email, and choose a username and a password, right? And if we click on submit, that will be all. This is to finish the process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what about existing users? That is the teachers who already used the platform last year. Do they have to register again?
No. If you already have a Macmillan account, you can log it at the same place in macmillaneducationeverywhere.com with your username and password. So there's no need for you to create a new account. You click on login, and you can put here your username and password. Okay, I'm going to do that. And of course, if you don't remember your username or your password, this is something that you can recover anytime by using this forgot my username or forgot my password links that are here. Okay, so we click on login. Okay, this is the bookshelf. As you can see, I have already redeemed some access codes for Great Thinkers and Influence. So if you were using Influence last year, you might have already your access to the course here. But if you are a new user, or if you have received an access code for your content, you can activate the code using this or this button. You just need to type in or copy and paste the code that you have received here and click on activate code. Okay, and then you will see your course here in the bookshelf. I think it's worth mentioning that we're doing this session using Influence, but the content of the webinar is valid also for teachers using your Influence or Influence Andalusia and Great Thinkers, okay? So now Ainhoa is going to explain us how to access the digital content. I'm going to click on Influence, and over to you, Ainhoa.
Okay, so once we've accessed our course, we will see different tabs to access the content. On the first one, we have the Macmillan Education Apps. And in this tab, you're going to find access to the digital platform, the Macmillan Education Teacher App. This is where you can find access to the interactive version of your student's book and your workbook, basically your digital book, to project on the interactive whiteboard or to share if you're teaching online.
Mm-hmm.
So in these level tabs, you will see access to other digital resources related to the course you teach, such as the test generator tool or the Teachers Resource Center, where you will find lots of photocopiable resources. If you're teaching more than one level, and you have added more than one access code, then you're going to see there all the different levels that you're teaching. If you're teaching for example, level 2 and 4, so you'll see them there. Okay?
Exactly. So this tab is to access the digital content. It doesn't matter the level. And in these level tabs, you will have access to this extra material. That's perfectly clear. Perfect. Let's go back to the first tab to access the digital platform. Okay, so Macmillan Education Teacher App. If you click on View, you will see different options. The first one, View in Browser. This is to access online via the web browser. And of course, you need an internet connection to use this mode. This one, Download the app. This is to be able to access offline to your digital content. So you can download the content in order to access it without the need of an internet connection, or in case that, for example, your connection is not reliable. And internet connection, again, is needed to download the content and to log in the first time. And this one, the viewing app option, is just a reminder that if you have already downloaded the app, you don't need to download it again. Just click on it and log in to access the content. For this webinar, we are using the View in Browser option, which is quicker. So let's click here on the View button. And it will open in a new tab. It will open the platform. Okay, to accept the cookies. Okay, before going into detail, I just wanted to explain these little icons here in the corner that allows you to change the location of your menu. Okay, so if you are using an interactive whiteboard, it might be interesting for you to change the location of the menu. We will explain some of these features later, but I wanted to highlight two things here. These links to the Teacher Resource Center and the test generator, they give access to the same content that Ainhoa has shown in the Macmillan Education Everywhere website. So it is the same, but you can use the access that it is easier for you. You can access from the Me portal, from Macmillan Education Everywhere, or from the platform, okay? And the other thing that I wanted to highlight is this online lesson option that we have released this year. And it enables you to access Google Meet or Zoom or Teams from within the app and schedule a meeting for your students to join if you need, without the need to leave the application, right? Okay.
Okay, so before opening the digital students book, could we have a look at how to create a class and add the students, Susanna?
Yes, I think that is a great idea. Let's start from the very beginning. Okay, in the side menu, you can see this classes option here. So it will open when we click in a new tab. This new website that we have just opened is the LMS, and you can save it in your favorites for quicker access if you want. Okay. You can see I already have a class created, but if you are new with the platform, the first time you access this screen, it will be empty. Okay. To create your first class, you need to click on Add a Class here. We need to type our name class here, the name of the class, and select the course that our students are going to have access to. In this case, we are doing it with influence, and we click on Next. And when you first create a class, you will see this window with the different options that we have to add students to our class. We can use any of these options now, or we can cancel and do it later. And I'm going to cancel because I want to show you how to open this menu again. Okay, so cancel. And here you can see the class that I have just created, right? So let's click on it and access the Manage Class option. Here we are, this is our class. It is currently empty. And to see the options to add students, we click on this button here, the blue one that says Add Students. And here we have the different options. The first one is I will add my students manually. With this option, you can type your student's first name, last name, and the contact email, and clicking on the plus icon to add it. And you can do that for as many students as you need. Okay.
Okay, so this looks like quite a manual process, which is fine if you only have to fill in one or two students. But what happens if you have to fill in the whole class or lots of the students? Is there any way to make it a bit more automatic?
Yes, you're right. In this case, you might prefer to use the next option, which is use a CSV file to add my students. So you can add the students to your class in bulk, uploading a CSV file with the data required.
Okay, so what is a CSV file? I guess that many people or many teachers are wondering what this is. How can I get it?
Okay, to create a CSV file, you just need to create an Excel document with these three columns that you can see here. The first column with your student's first name, second column with your student's last name, and the third column with your contact email. You might already have this document for other purposes, but anyway, when you have it ready, you just need to save it as a CSV file instead of Excel. And then we're ready to upload the CSV file into the platform to add all our students automatically.
Okay, and regarding the contact email, which contact email should I use? Can I use mine for all the students to make it simpler, or can I use a fictitious one?
Oh, that's a very common question, and well, you could do that, but note that if your students need to reset their password at some point, the email with the steps to recover will go into this email. So if it is a fictitious one, they will never receive it. And if you use your email account or your email, you will be getting the password reset link. So that is okay if you are in the classroom with them, for example, but if they need to reset their password during the weekend, they will never receive the reset link. So my recommendation is to use real email accounts. Okay. Let's see the next option. I'm going to open the menu again. The next one is get students to add themselves. This is as simple as to share a class code with your students so that they can join the class. Because when they access the platform as students, they will see an option called join a class, and they just need to copy and paste or type in the code in that box.
I think this is my preferred option. It looks like the easiest one, having the students do all the work.
Yes, it's very simple. Yes. And there is a fourth one that I would like to explain because it might be useful for those that are already users from last year, which is this one, copy students over from an existing class. If you already have classes created and the students are moving to the next course, you can simply copy those students into a new class and remove them from the other class to avoid having them duplicated.
Okay, so what can I do with my class as a teacher now that it has been created?
Let me open the other class that already has a student on it to show you the options. I'm going back to the LMS and I'm going to switch the class to this one and access again the manage class. Here I have my class. And here you will be able to see and edit your student data. You can add new students to the class as we have seen. You can remove them, or you can, for example, reset their passwords.
And how do we do that? Because I always hear teachers saying that students lose their passwords, and this is a really time waster. Is there any way to solve it?
Yes, you have two options here. One is this button here, new password. This will generate a new automatic password for the student. What I mean is that the system will generate an automatic password for that specific student. Okay, but you might prefer to choose a password for your student. So in that case, you can click on the name and you can see that this pencil icon will allow you to edit some of these files and including the password. So you just need to click here and choose the password you want for this student. So no need to send any reset links or to contact our customer care department. You can fix that in the classroom anytime. Now that we know how to create a class, I think we can move to the content side of things and do a quick walkthrough of a unit to see the platform functionalities. So let's go back to the main menu here and select the course and the component that we want to see. So as I said, we are going to use influence. Sorry if you are great thinkers teachers here, but the content and the functionalities will be exactly the same for you. Okay, and here we have the different components that we have available in our license. So you have access to the digital student book, the digital workbook, and also to the on-the-go practice material, which is a student component, but you have it here also so that you can see what your students have access to, or in case you want to use it in the classroom at some point. For the session, let's open the digital student book. I'm going to access unit 1 and the vocabulary lesson. And here the first thing that you will see is the page of the book. Okay, there we go. What do you think at first sight that we can do with this, Ainhoa?
Well, it looks quite easy to use and navigate to me with these navigation arrows on the right and on the left, and the page selector on the top. So at first sight, I feel I could navigate through the book very easily. So I also see these icons on the page, and I guess they are to make activities bigger.
Yes, this is to open the interactive activities or the interactive resources that you have linked to every rubric. Okay, so I'm going to open one for you. There you go.
Okay, so let's click on this one. Yeah, how can we make it bigger? Yeah,
you can click on this icon and the activity will go full screen.
That's much better. Yes, that's much better. Yes, and I can see that you can see the answers one by one. You can show the answers one by one, or you can show all of them at once, which both of them are useful things when you're teaching in the classroom. Is this for all the activities?
Yeah,
Does it
most
work
of
like
the
this?
yes, most of the activities are interactive and self-corrective. So you will be able to show the answers to your students, or maybe do the activities all together in the classroom. It's up to you.
Okay. And can a student see the answers?
The answers are hidden to the students at first, but they can see them after 2 attempts.
Okay, so I think that's really useful for self-study. How about if the activity includes audio or video?
Well, in that case, you will see the audio or the video player integrated with the activity so that you can have it on hand while doing the activity. And I think there is an example on this page, this one. You see, the audio player is there, and you can also display text for your students to read along with the audio.
Okay, that's great. Can I zoom in the text? I mean, make it bigger, because if we have the students at the back of the class, maybe they don't see it well.
Yes, there is a zoom tool. I'm going to show you later, but it is not available when you have an activity open, but you still can zoom it using the control and the plus buttons in your keyboard, like you will do with any other website. You see that it is making bigger, right?
Yes,
Oh,
we can see it perfectly. Yes,
I'm going
really big indeed.
Okay, and let me show you the zoom tool, which is something that we have released also this year. Here in the top menu, you have the zoom tool, and you can increase the size up to 300%. It's one of the features, as I said, that we released this year, and I think it's very useful for readings like the one that we have here below, or the one that I think is in page 15. So you could, for example, zoom in the text for your students to read it, and at the same time you could click on the interactive icon to open the audio and have both things on the screen.
Okay, and how about the tools for the interactive whiteboard? Can you tell us a bit?
Yeah, these are the tools that you can see here on the left-hand side. And we have a pen tool to draw on the book within this green frame. By clicking on this little triangle here, I can open the options. So I can choose the thickness of the pencil and the color, right? And then you can draw anything you want in the book. Okay, to delete it, we can use the bin tool, and to close the tool, we can click on the X icon. Then we've got this text tool to add any text to our book. Okay, and again, you can choose by clicking in this triangle, you can choose the text of the color, the color of the text, the background color, and the size of the text. Right. The next one is the highlighter, quite similar as the pencil. You can select the thickness and the color, and select any text and highlight anything you want in the page. And the last one is the notes tool, which I think is my favorite because it works like a mix of a highlighter and a notes tool, because it is linked to a text. So to use it, you just need to select a text like this, for example. And when you release the mouse, the icon appears, and we can click on it to add our note or our comment, or for example, a website if we want, and we click on save. And every time you move your mouse over that text, you will see quick access to the note. You can edit, you can delete it, and you can also access your notes through this icon here on the top bar. Here you can access all the notes that you have added to the book.
Oh, I think that's really useful. And I've got one question. Do students have access to these interactive whiteboard tools?
Well, these are specific tools for teaching. So students only have access to the notes tool, which, as we have just seen, it can also be used as a highlighter. But I think personally, it is even better than a simple highlighter, because it allows the students to add notes and reminders during the class for them to review later. And there is something else that I'd like to show you before we move forward to the next topic, which is the quick links button here. This allows teachers to switch between the student's book and the workbook, or quickly access other sections of each unit without the need to go back to the main menu and change the component. So if I am now in the vocabulary and listening lesson, and I want to go to the workbook, I can directly go to the workbook by clicking on any of these links here. Here we are. Now we are in the workbook.
Okay, so and I can see that it takes you to the same lesson that you're teaching. So this is really useful. Yeah.
Exactly. We were in the grammar and vocabulary lessons, and here we are. And if we want to go back to the student's book, we just need to click here, and we will return to the student book.
Okay, so let's now go back to the main menu, because I really like to see how the homework feature works.
Yes, that is a very useful tool. It is available for secondary, bachillerato, and adults courses. And so far we've seen the basics of our platform, which is what some teachers might need as they use the digital to project in the interactive whiteboard or play audios and videos and to do the activities or create activities along with their students. But now, if you want to go further with digital, I think you will like this tool and the next ones that we're going to review. So this homework feature that I know I want to see is something that we released last year. So some of you might already be familiar with it. And now we've made some improvements according to the feedback that we have received from teachers. So it's worth to mention, I'm going to access, but the first thing I want to highlight is that you need to create a class first and add your students to it. And the students need to activate their access code as well, okay, in order to use the homework.
Okay, and how do I use it?
Okay, to create new homework, we need to access the tool, sign now, and then click on create new homework. You have to choose the course. This is what I meant, right? I don't have any classes in Great Thinkers, so I cannot send any homework. But if I change to influence, where I have a class with the students, then now I'm able to use the tool. So you can select your classes and send the homeworks to the whole class or to just a specific student. So I'm going to select all, even that we only have one student here, and click on next. The next step is to select the activities. Okay, so you can preview them by expanding this arrow here and clicking on the activity if you want to remind which activity it was. And you can select independent activities or you can select all at once. And once you are happy with your selection, you click on next. In the next step, you can configure your homework, adding, for example, a start date and a deadline. I'm going to configure this now. So starting date will be today. And for example, the due date will be on Friday. You can select if you want to accept submissions past the due date after this Friday. You can put a title on your homework, your name. And in this box, of course, you can add extra information or instructions for your student or attach a link for them as a reference. Okay, we click on next. And if we are happy with what we've done, we click on send to students. Okay, and once the homework has been sent, if students have installed the Macmillan Education Student App on their smartphones, they will receive a notification on their mobiles. So they know that there are new tasks for them. And one of the improvements that we've made this year to this tool is that you can now access any piece of homework sent so that you can edit or add extra students or share this piece of homework with your students using Google Classroom, directly clicking with this link, or with any other communication system that you use with your student. And it might be an email or a WhatsApp or any other messaging tool in any platform, because this is as simple as to share this link. You can copy this link and share the homework with your student using the tool you prefer. Okay, so no excuses not to make the homework.
Yeah, I was going to say that exactly. There are no excuses for students to do the homework now. Okay, yes. So you've mentioned the Student App a few times, and although it's not a teacher component, it would be great if we could see a bit of the Student App. Do you think that's possible, Susanna?
Yes, let me log in the system with a student profile. Maybe while I'm logging in, you can make a reminder to our teachers on what components the students have access to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, while she logs in, I like to explain that depending on the license that the students have, they will have access to different materials. That is, they might only have access to the student's book because that's what the school has decided, or only to the workbook, or to both. And also the students who have access to the workbook, they can access the on-the-go app.
On the go practice, yes. And all these components that I know has just mentioned are inside what we call the Macmillan Education Student App that can be accessed online, as we've done right now, exactly the same access as we've done as teachers, right? So, but log in with our student account, or students can download or install on the devices. And as I mentioned before, if students install the app from Google Play or App Store in their mobiles, they will receive notifications every time the teacher assigns them homework. So that's a very good benefit. And another benefit for older students is that they can access their course on the go wherever they are. For the session, I'm going to use again the online version. So click on View. And when they access, they will see the title of the course. And if they click on it, they will see the different components I know I was explaining included in the license. And among all these components, I would like to highlight the on-the-go practice, which contains lots of gradable activities to practice their vocabulary, grammar, writing, and speaking skills. The app has also a challenge mode here. This allows students to gain badges as they improve their skills. And in this mode, they will have a timer and they will need to complete the activities before the time is over and without losing any lives. So it has a bit of a gamification flavor. And this makes students repeat the activity over and over again if they wish to try to improve their results and get more badges. And we will know how important repetition is when we speak about language learning. From here, from the student app, they also have access to their homework here so that they can see the tasks that they have, and the homework will be under the to do or the complete tab, depending on the status of the homework. Okay, if we click on more, students will see the option to join a class that I mentioned earlier when we were creating the class. And I just wanted to show you this in case you get questions from your students, because I know it is a bit hidden. So here it is.
And actually, I think there was a question on that before. So yeah,
solved, hopefully. And to finish this quick review of the student app, in this option, secondary students also have access with students or their parents. If they wish, they will be able to check their own progress in the digital book by clicking here on progress. We click on the level and we can see, the course average score and how many medals we've got. We've got 100 medals to win. And this is the course progress. And talking about progress, I think it's a good moment for Ainhoa to explain how teachers can track their students' progress within our platform. So do you want to introduce the progress tracker tool to our teachers while I log back as a teacher on the platform, Ainhoa?
Yes, please. Let's go back. You log in the teachers app, and so that I can explain how the progress tracker works.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so the progress tracker, as you can see, is accessible from the main menu, and it provides the option to easily monitor the students' progress as they can complete activities in any of the components they have available. So the first thing you need to do, let's see, is to choose the component. Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to click on the class.
Yes.
Just taking some water, sorry. And accessing the progress.
Oh, sorry, I was going really quick.
That's it. Now you can choose the component. This is the first step you were mentioning.
Okay, so in this case, we're going to choose the workbook because we think it's the most used component. Okay, and here we can see like the main view of the progress tracker. Okay, so yeah, first, if you can see at the top, yeah, we've got all the students there. We can filter if we want to see all the students or one particular student.
Okay. Let's imagine that we have like 30 students here instead of one.
Exactly, that would be,
filter.
yes, that would be the usual in a classroom.
Yes.
In this case, as it's fictitious, we only have one student. Okay, so, and also you can filter if you want to see all the units or all the lessons, but we're going to see that, yes, a bit later. Okay, so if we look down, we've got Lucas Garde and we've got all the units that he has completed. You can see lots of circles in here. And that corresponds to all the units and the extra sections that the book has. In this case, Susanna, can you show all units so that we can see that we also have access to the grammar practice, vocabulary section, well, any other sections that we have at the end of the book or in between units. Okay, and then you see that the first circle has like a clock in there. This means that it's in progress, that the student is working on it, that he's not finished it. You can see this legend here at the top. See, the rest of them, the rest of the circles are not started. They're all blank. Yeah, the student hasn't done anything in them. If we get a question mark in the circle, it means that the student has sent some work and you get a notification to review it. And if we have a green circle, it means that the unit is completed. If it's right or well, or it can be improved, we'll see it later. Yeah. Okay, so then we can also see the time that done. If you go back down, you can see the time that the student has used. So it's 16 minutes to do this starter unit. That time can also tell us if they've spent like too long or too little, if they're doing other things while they're doing the homework. We can also see the number of attempts. If you see like a huge number of attempts, it means that they've had to repeat it a lot, which is in a way is good because repetition makes learning. And finally, you can see the score that the student got. In this case, we have 64%, and as Susanna is showing, we can see the highest score, which is the case now, or you can also filter it by the last attempt. So theoretically, you would get like a better attempt, a better mark there, or the first attempt, theoretically, it wouldn't be as good as that attempt. So let's go and see Lucas, how he is doing. Okay, so here we can see the different lessons in throughout the whole book, and this could be a bit overwhelming, but there's no problem because if we go to all units up there, we can actually tick the unit that we're on, and we're on the starter unit, and now we only have access, or we only see filtered here the different sections of lessons in this unit. So for example, in the first one, in the vocabulary, countries and nationalities, we see that there are 3 green circles. It means that there are 3 activities in this section and that the student has completed the 3 of them. Okay. And if you go down, see, the student hasn't done all the activities in the sessions. Yeah. Because you, as a teacher, have told them not to. Okay. Okay. So let's go, for example, to the first one. Oh no, I think no. Sorry, Susanna.
The last one.
Yeah, because I've just realized that here the student got a 100%.
So it's better to show the mistakes that Lucas has made. Yeah, agree.
Exactly. Okay, because if everything is okay, it means that, yeah, no, I mean, if it's okay, why should you keep on it? So let's, we are in, I think this is the grammar section, I think. And it is quite clear that Lucas is struggling here because if you look at activity 1 here on the right, we can see that he's done one attempt, and he hasn't even got a 20%. So probably he's having trouble there. So we as teachers know that, yeah, maybe we need to help the student. The same with the activity 2, it's a bit more than 20%. So in this case, we can go and check the actual activity the student has done, like there in the eye. Okay, see, and you can see what is in green is of course well, and what is in red is not. I mean, it's
not that well. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and you can also show the answers so that you can see well, the right answer in there. Okay.
Quite useful. I really like the fact that you can see what the student has done and not just the mark, right? Because yeah, punctuation is very important, but I also would like to know where are they failing, no? So that I can help.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. That's really useful. And then also I would like to explain you that there at the top, it says export. If you click on that, you can download all the results in an Excel or a CSV document, and that is especially useful before you do the marking before the end of the evaluation. So you've got the option to download all the results and have a look at them closely.
That's quite useful because you can edit then the marks or the results in Excel if you need, or you can export those data into into another LMS, for example, other marking tools such as VÍDEO or any other LMS that allows you to upload the scores in CSV format into their platform. Right, okay, so talking about third-party platforms, I think, well, we all know how important this always has been for teachers, but even more since the pandemic, where those tools and platforms have become very, very popular. So yes, we're launching a new poll for you to get your experience on the use of these third-party platforms for those that you use. Third-party platforms such as Google Classroom or any of the options that you have here, we would really like to know if you are using them or not. And if you are using, which one, right? I think I have someone saying that they don't use third-party platforms, but most of you are using them. So I can see Google Classroom is winning. Also Moodle.
It is clear that most of the teachers are using third-party platforms after the pandemic.
Yes, most of them were accustomed to them before, and I think the pandemic has been very clear and the use of these platforms. So yes, Google Classroom is the most used tool between our teachers here today. And then we've got also Microsoft Teams, Moodle, a few using other Moodle-based platforms, and just 4% of users that are not using any third-party platforms, right? Okay, so I think it's a good moment to review and see how can we use our digital components, including in Macmillan Education Teacher App, with this third-party platform. So I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, I know we don't have much time because it's only 15 minutes and we also want to give a moment for teachers to make questions, but I just wanted to let you know those schools using Moodle or Moodle-based platforms, I think you know, our content included in Macmillan Education Teacher App like Influence or Great Thinkers is compatible with all these platforms using marsupial licenses. So both teacher and students can access the digital books via the LMS they are using, and schools just need to request it, and we will provide them with the marsupial licenses and the connection details for them to set up, well, for them or for the administrator to set up everything in their LMS. Right, and about Google Classroom and Teams, we are working on making our digital content compatible with these tools. And those of you especially using Classroom are for sure familiar with that little classroom icon, like this one here, that it's available in some platforms that allows you to share content directly in your Google Classroom. We don't have that icon integrated in our platform, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use our content with Google Classroom or with Microsoft Teams. And I think I can show you a little bit how. I have opened Google Classroom and I'm creating a task, okay? So, you know, you can share material or a task with your student. And the task might be like this one, to make the activities in the Influence or in the Great Thinkers platform. So we just need to create the task and add our instructions, and in order to help students to know where to access the activities, because I know some of you are using different platforms and sometimes it's tricky for them to know where to go, we can share the link to the platform with them, which is in this case is student.macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, and they will go and make the activities that you have requested them to do. And to track the student results, to be honest, I would prefer to use the progress tracker that I know has shown us. I think it's very complete, but I know some teachers prefer to ask their pupils to take photos or screenshots of the complete activities and then upload them to the Google Classroom or the Microsoft Teams task for them, for the teachers to create. That is completely up to you. And if you want to go further and improve the digital literacy of your students, which is something very important these days, and it is very present in the new LOMLOE, I think there are some activities in our books that are very likely to be extended using the Google or Microsoft tools. For example, you can create tasks and then, yes, you can evaluate the students in Google Classroom for this task. So now that we are in Influence, I'm thinking of some work in pairs activities that I think are perfect if you want your students to work in pairs or groups, and they can prepare a presentation about the topic using Google Slides. Then the way you will make them work with these digital tools. Or there is also a section in Influence, what do you think? And I think that is suitable to create a task in Classroom and ask your students, for example, to create their own video or material and upload it into your shared drive and share it with the rest of the students, the teacher. And this way they are not only practicing speaking with this what do you think section and communications abilities, but also developing their digital skills. In the case of Great Thinkers, for example, you will find a critical thinkers section that is also perfect to create activity extensions and ask our students to work collaboratively with Google or Microsoft tools and prepare presentations or videos to share their ideas. You also have access to the videos and audios in the Teacher Resource Center that I know shown us at the beginning. So we could also upload them to the Google Classroom or to the Microsoft Teams board to create a task related to that material, or to do kind of a flipped classroom and ask your students to watch the video prior to the class. So I think there are many ways to use our material with these third-party tools, even if we don't have that fully integration. And I agree with you that it's always quicker and easier if you have a button to share the content, but I just want to make a little introduction on this and let you know that there are other ways to share our content or work with our Macmillan content and your coursebook and these third-party platforms.
And also another idea, for example, could be to, if you want your students to do collaborative work, or if you want them to like coordinate, for example, to do a presentation, or for example, the project in Influence or the collaborative project in Great Thinkers, you can use Meet for them, you know, to get together and decide how they want the projects to be, to make decisions on how they're going to do it.
Yeah, okay, so I think we have finished our presentation. So we fortunately have time if you have any questions. So I am now reviewing the chat and I can see that there have been many questions during the session. And fortunately, we have someone replying to your question. But if you have any other thing that you want to ask us now is your time.
If you have questions, just type them there in the chat.
There are no questions now. There will be a form after the session and you will be able to put your questions on it as well. And we will reach you later with the answer to your question or whatever you need. So
it says, how can students access the on-the-go practice?
Right, okay, so if they have a digital license for the Great Thinkers or the Influence content, they need to go to macmillaneducationeverywhere.com and redeem the access code there. And they just need to download, depending on where they want to access. They can access online, or they can download the Macmillan Education Student App from Google Play or App Store and access through their mobiles. So they just need an access code and register as a user and access the content via what we've seen via the Me portal, or downloading the app in their devices. Victoria asking about if you can set homework. This is one of the features that we have explained in the session. Maybe you were not in that moment, but as the session will be recording, you can access it later. And yes, we have explained how to send homework to our students. Yes, if they only have access to the student book, yes, you can select activities from the student book and send the activities as homework to your student. Yes. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. If there are no more questions, pues I know I can explain us the next thing.
Okay, so Macmillan Advantage, probably many of you already know, is a resources and help platform for Macmillan users to make everything around your class more simple, and so that you can focus on teaching and motivating your students. One of the most important things in Advantage is that you've got the all-in-one resources. That means that you can access all the resources of your coursebook. Apart from the Teachers Resource Center, you can access them from Advantage. For example, the videos, the audios, or the photocopyables. You can access them anytime and anywhere, if you remember the password, of course. Okay, so also you can have access to video tutorials on digital product. For example, the one that we are doing now, it will be uploaded into Advantage. And you can also, you have like a little link to the help desk that Susanna will be talking about later. We also have extra resources, like thousands of resources. Actually, I think there are more than 1,000 resources, and it's like Advantage is more or less like the Spotify of the ELT. You can filter the different resources by age and by skills. So it's great. Also, you can have access to the training that we're doing like soon or in the future. And you also have access to all the webinars that we've done in the past. There are more than 200 webinars that you can check, and they are also filtered by topic and by age. And we are constantly updating our content to adapt it to your needs. Every month we upload content, like, for example, programaciones, which are key for you, we know, or if there is any new thing, like, for example, a new way to evaluate, or, for example, with COVID last year, we uploaded lots of stuff in there to help you. You simply have to type the advantage.macmillan.s and register in there so that you can access all these materials. And finally, last but not least, Macmillan Advantage is already 5 years old. So we simply have to say, happy birthday, Macmillan Advantage.
I forgot the cake. Sorry, I know.
Yeah, we could all do a party, but we cannot eat all of, we can't share it with everybody.
We also have a question in the chat asking about the group class challenge, and no, we don't have that available, but I appreciate your feedback because I think it's a very good suggestion. So I'm taking notes of it. Thank you. And regarding the customer care and the help desk that I know I mentioned, there is a help desk, of course, to help you if you have any problem with our digital platforms. There is a YouTube channel that I will copy and paste the link in the chat right now, or if someone from Macmillan can do it for me, then great. There is also a team of technicians that will there for you in case you need support with platforms. And you can contact them using this email, atencioncliente@macmillaneducation.com. Of course, you also have your school representative if you need anything. So I think that's all. I know I'm going to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is it. We really want to thank you for coming to this session or for attending this session. We hope that we've explained everything and that this is useful for you to begin with your classes, your online classes, or you're projecting the digital materials.
Let's hope it will be face-to-face this year, please.
Yes.
Hopefully we have finished with the online thing.
Yeah,
overall.
let's hope so. But if there is any student or something or a teacher who has to do a lockdown, you can use
Yes, we have a solution for that situation as well. That's right. Okay, well, thank you, everyone, and hope to see you soon. Good luck with your course.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.